Hi, this is Claire from AHA. Thank you so much for joining me for today's tutorial on the best new ways to gather feedback. I've been in product marketing for over 20 years, and I can say that the thing about my job that brings me the most joy is delighting customers. It's so rewarding when customers truly love your product, and as a product team, you keep innovating and delivering new functionality that makes others happy. So, what does it take to achieve this type of success? Well, if I had to pick one key ingredient, I would say that it comes down to empathy. When teams truly empathize with what their customers want and need, they can better prioritize and build solutions that bring joy. But empathy can be super hard to cultivate. You need to be hearing from as many different people as possible and then gaining a deep understanding of different use cases and challenges and needs. In the past, I've run customer advisory boards and focus groups and interviews, all of the traditional methods for engaging with customers and collecting feedback that you're probably familiar with. You're probably also familiar with some of the challenges that come with those methods. It can be so hard to find the right customers to talk to about a specific topic, which means you often end up talking to the same group of familiar customers. This then puts a greater burden on those people to participate and limits the insights that you're relying on to inform your decisions. And this is why it's so important to keep rethinking how you gather feedback from your customers and trying new techniques to ensure that you really are using the best methods to encourage people to share their thoughts. That's why I'm so excited about today's tutorial. I'm going to show you some fresh new ways to expand feedback channels, engage customers in live conversations, and enrich your feedback analysis. Now, if you joined last month's tutorial, Eric talked about how creating an ideas portal really is the bedrock of idea management that enables a continuous cycle of innovation. It gives you that central place to crowdsource feedback, review incoming ideas, analyze all of those requests, and then prioritize what to deliver. If you missed this tutorial, we do have a recording, so I encourage you to check it out. Today, I'm going to pick up the story from where Eric left off. I'm going to assume that you have a portal set up, the ideas are flowing in, and that you're now looking for even more ways to gather those valuable customer insights. So first, we're going to look at how to expand your feedback channels to ensure that as many users as possible are sharing their ideas. There are two really effective ways I'm going to show you to help you do that: proxy voting and capturing ideas while customers are actively using your application. Then we'll talk about the best ways to engage users in live conversations so you can find out what they really think. I'll introduce you to empathy sessions, which are perfect for bringing a group of customers together for a virtual chat-based conversation to discuss a specific topic. And then I'll show you in-app community feedback. Just as it sounds, this is a way to have an open conversation with your community right inside your product. And then finally, we'll talk about how to bring all of these fresh new insights together. The thing that ultimately drives real innovation is when you can take all of these learnings and use them to draw meaningful conclusions. So those are going to be our three areas of focus today: the best ways to expand how you collect ideas, engage customers in conversation, and then enrich your feedback analysis. Now, most of the capabilities that I am about to show you are in our Ideas Advanced plan. So as a quick recap, we have two products. We have AHA Roadmaps and we have AHA Ideas. Both of these are available as a standalone offering. But it's worth noting that AHA Roadmaps comes with all of the functionality included in our Essentials plan at no additional cost. This means you can create unlimited portals and invite an unlimited number of portal users to start crowdsourcing feedback. And then you have the option to upgrade any Roadmaps plan to include the additional functionality that comes with Ideas Advanced. Now today, we'll be using a Roadmaps demo account with Ideas Advanced functionality enabled so that you can see how it all fits in the context of your overall strategic planning process. A key benefit here being that you can promote ideas directly to your roadmap, which enables you to track and manage ideas all the way from concept through to delivery in one system. Okay, let's get started with our first step, which is expand. Now, as you can see here, I already have an ideas portal set up, and it's for a fictitious company called Fredwin Cycling, which is a web-based application for cycling enthusiasts. And as you can see, we have an active community of customers coming to submit new ideas and vote on existing ones, which is great. But, we know that there are many other users that we're not currently hearing from. Now, of course, there are many things you can do to make it easy for users to find and access your portal, such as linking to it from your website and your knowledge base and customer emails and so forth. But this will only get you so far. It really comes down to using different approaches to capture feedback based on who is giving the feedback and when. So let's start by discussing proxy voting, which is a really valuable way to capture feedback on behalf of customers. So to quickly situate you, here I am on the Ideas Overview page in my AHA account. So this is where I can review all of the feedback coming in one place and prioritize what to build. Now, you'll notice here that I have two Ideas portals set up. I have the public portal for customers that I just showed you, and then I have a private Ideas portal, which is for internal teams to share their ideas. So let's go ahead and open up the private Ideas portal. The wonderful thing about using a private portal is that internal teams can still see all of the ideas that customers submitted via the public portal because they're all associated with the same workspace in our AHA account. But it means that anyone who is authorized to access the private portal can add ideas and comments that are only visible to other folks in the private portal. And it also means that you can enable proxy voting. So why does this matter? Well, as I'm sure you know, many customers share their feedback and requests when they're talking to other folks in your organization, such as your sales and support teams. These insights are super valuable, but can easily get lost if they're not captured in a central place alongside all of the other ideas that are coming in. So let's imagine for a moment that I am on the sales team at Fredwin Cycling, and I recently met with a customer, Aerocycle, who told me that having a training dashboard is massively important to them, and that an upcoming opportunity depends on it. So if I come to the private ideas portal, actually this is super convenient because I can see that this training dashboard idea has already been pinned. So let's open up this idea. Now, as a private user of this portal, I can add a proxy vote. So again, as the salesperson, I know that I was talking to Aerocycle. And let me see if I can find an existing contact. Yep, it was Mike Chen that I was talking to. So here I'm going to go ahead and add some details about the opportunity and why a training dashboard is so important to Aerocycle. And then I could go ahead here and add some additional details about the value and the priority. And then I just need to go ahead and save my proxy vote. So as a salesperson, this is super convenient. I now know that the interest from Aerocycle has been captured. I know that my product management team will review it. And, if I'm talking with Aerocycle, I can let them know that we have captured their feedback. Now let's put on the hat of the product manager and head back to our Ideas Overview page. Now here's that idea for the training dashboard, which I can see is a popular idea that's already got, 50 votes. Now if I open it up and go to the Votes tab, this is where I can now see all of the public votes that have been added to this idea, but I can also see any proxy votes that have been submitted. So if we look down here, I can see all those details about the proxy vote for Aerocycle. I have the details about the user that the proxy vote was submitted on behalf of. So if I need to reach out to Mike Chen for more information, I can. And I have the full details about the opportunity. So you can see how this is super helpful because it gives me a broader picture of what people want, no matter whether they submit it to the portal directly or whether it comes in indirectly via someone on our sales team, but it's all captured in one place. So that's a really great way to expand how you collect feedback. Okay, now next we are going to look at another great way to expand how you collect feedback, which is while customers are actively using your application. Now, I truly believe that this is one of the best ways to capture feedback because it takes your portal to your customers rather than the other way round, which relies on your customers and your users coming to the portal. I don't know about you, but for me, I often have ideas about how an application can be improved when I'm actively using it. Are we trying to complete a task? And that's when I'll think about how something could work better or if there's some functionality that's missing. So let's keep going with our Fredwin Cycling example. Here I am on a fictitious rendering of our application. So I'm going to ask you to play along with me here and pretend that you're an avid cyclist who loves using this application to track all of your cycling training. Now, you'll notice that in the bottom of the application is a light bulb icon. So if I click on this, it opens up the same idea submission form that I would see if I came directly to an ideas portal to submit the idea. So you can instantly see why this makes it so much easier for customers to share feedback. It's there right in the moment as they're thinking of a request or for an idea for enhancement. They don't need to leave the application. They can submit the idea and carry on with what they are doing. Now, we set this up using a feedback widget, which I'll show you in a moment. The thing to think about here is that you really want to link to this feedback widget in a way that feels like a natural extension of your product. So here I've just shown you the default option, which is to have this light bulb icon appear in the bottom of your application. But let me show you a couple of other ways that you can do this. So here is an exact duplication of that same application that I just showed you, but we have a submit an idea button at the top of our application. So we created this using some custom script. And again, if I click on the button, it opens up the idea submission form and I am ready as a user to submit that feedback. I also want to show you how our own product management team at AHA uses this functionality. So we've linked to our feedback widget in this drop-down help menu. So if I go down and click submit an idea, again, you'll see that this is how AHA users can submit their feedback. And I absolutely encourage you to do so if you have some great ideas. But the key takeaway here is that you really, like I say, want to be making it feel as seamless as possible for your users to capture those ideas. So you just want to think about where in your application it makes sense to add those links. Now, let me show you very quickly how we set this up. So I'm just going to go into my portal settings, and you'll see here that we have the widgets tab. Now, here's the widget that I'm using. You will just need to work with your development team first of all to make sure that a snippet of code is added to your application, but it's a one-time thing. Once you have put that snippet of code in your application, you can create as many feedback widgets as you need. And then you can just go ahead and create your widget. You can make some customizations. You can give it a title, add a subtitle, set a custom theme color. And then down here is where you would control the position of the feedback widget. So we went with a custom option here. If you chose lower right or lower left, that's where that light bulb icon would appear. So that's it, a really simple yet powerful channel for capturing ideas. So here we've looked at two new ways to expand how you collect feedback. We've looked at proxy voting and we've looked at in-app idea submission. Incorporating both of these channels as part of your inbound feedback approach really gives you the best opportunity to hear from as many customers as possible. So the best practices to be thinking about here are to really reflect on how many of your users that you're currently hearing from today and what methods they're able to use to leave feedback. And then you can review how well those approaches are working, both from their point of view and yours, because ultimately you want everything coming back in the same place. And then it's really thinking about what you can do to make it a better experience. So, like I say, that's our first step, which is expand. And this really opens up some great possibilities to hear from a broader group of users. Now let's move on to step 2, which is engage. We now have a steady flow of ideas coming in, which is great. But in many ways, this is just the start of the conversation. Ideas give you a certain understanding of what people want and need, but you often need to go deeper so that you can develop that empathy for what they're trying to accomplish and why. So let's take our training dashboard as an example. We've already seen that this is an idea that is gaining in popularity, but as a product manager, I really need to do more research so that I can understand what customers actually want and build out and define the requirements. It's times like this when there really is no replacement for a live conversation, and that's where empathy sessions come in. They are just like focus groups, but they are virtual and they are chat-based. So they solve a lot of those challenges with traditional focus groups that we were talking about earlier, in the sense that they make it easy to find the right people to talk to and get everyone together for a discussion. First of all, I'm going to show you how to schedule an empathy session, because this will give you a good sense of what is possible. And then I'm going to join an empathy session that's already set up, so you can see an actual conversation in action from a participant's perspective. And then lastly, we'll take a look at how to moderate the conversation as an organizer and summarize the learnings. All right, so let's imagine that I want to schedule an empathy session to talk about this idea for a training dashboard. So I just go ahead and pop in a name. And then I would go and fill in some details about the topic. This is information that will be visible to the participants and just provides them with some really nice context about what to expect from the discussion. But we'll come back to that part later. Let's talk about the actual scheduling part, because you have a couple of options here. So you can either schedule your empathy session for a specific date and time, or you can create a multiple day session. So let me talk about the best practices for each. Setting a specific time is really great if you can gather a group of customers together at the same time, because it means you can have that live interaction. You'll be moderating the session, asking questions as you go along, and guiding participants through the discussion. Now, multiple day sessions are ideal for those times when it's hard to get people together at the same time. So, for example, one customer was just telling us the other day how they have folks in different time zones. And so they prefer the multiple day session because it makes it more convenient for customers to join when they're available. It does mean that the conversation will be more asynchronous. And as the organizer, you'll just need to put all of your questions in up front. And then customers, like I say, can join the session and just leave feedback as they go. So it really is worth just thinking about how you want to approach the session in terms of what works best for your customers. Now for the fun part. If you think about it, you already have a trove of amazing ideas captured in your ideas portal, and you know who submitted them. So when you identify a topic that you want to discuss, you already have a group of people that are motivated to share their insights and their feedback. So all I need to do is start typing. So I'm going to put in training here, and AHA will immediately show me any ideas that might be of interest. So here I can go through and I can select some of the ideas that I think are relevant to this conversation about a training dashboard. And then when I go to the next step, I now have a list of people to invite. So these are any of the folks who either submitted the idea, voted for the idea, or commented on an idea. Now, you can also manually add other folks too. So this doesn't include anyone, for example, who we submitted a proxy vote on behalf of. So if you remember Mike Chen from Aerocycle, I think he'd be perfect to invite here. So we could just go ahead and add Mike and put in his contact details. Now, you also have a third option for inviting people, which is to copy the public link to the session. So this is great if you want to, say, give the link to your sales team and encourage them to invite any additional participants. So now you've found the right people to talk to, you're pretty much ready to go ahead and schedule the session. You have some branding options, which are really important. Again, you want everything to feel like a seamless part of your company. So here you can customize the theme color, the email templates, and all of that important information. And then that's basically it. You're done. You can either go ahead and invite people immediately, or you can schedule the session and send out the invites a little bit later on. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and close out of this now because I want to show you an empathy session that is a little bit more built out. So here is another empathy session to talk about training dashboards, but you can see I put in some information about the topic. That's that information that is visible to all of the participants. And then down here we have a guide. This is a really handy tool for the people organizing the empathy session. It's only visible to organizers, and this is where you can define the goal of the empathy session, what you want to learn from it, and even put in all of the questions that you want to ask during the session. So it really just helps you keep the conversation on track. We can take a quick look at the branding. So you can see here, I changed the theme color, I added a logo and a favicon, and also spent some time customizing my invitation email. Over here on the right, you can see some details about the empathy session. So this particular one that I'm about to show you is actually a multi-day session. So what we are going to go ahead and do now is head over to the session and take a look at the experience from a participant's perspective. So what I'm actually having to do here is switch over to an incognito window because it does confuse AHA a little bit if I try to take on the role of a participant and an organizer at the same time. So I've used the public link to the empathy session, and here I just need to enter my name and email to join. So let me go ahead and do this. And you'll see that as a participant, when I first join, I get this friendly welcome message, which just encourages me to jump in and join the conversation when I'm ready. So let's scroll up to the top and talk about a few of the ways that I can now engage in the conversation. Because this is a multi-day session, as I was explaining earlier, all of the questions have been pre-entered into the empathy session so that I now just need to scroll down and join in as I want to. So let's look at this first question. What are your personal training goals? So here you can see that it's a threaded conversation. I can open it up. I can see the feedback that other participants have been sharing. If I like what someone else has already said, I can go ahead and add an emoji to express my sentiment that way. And I can also go ahead and add a reply. So I'm just going to go with some simple feedback here. Golly, what are my personal training goals? I don't know. I want to ride faster. That seems like a reasonable one. Okay, so let's hit reply. And as you can see, super easy to leave my feedback. Now I see a poll question. So this is always a fun way to quickly share my thoughts. What performance data matters most to me? Well, I did say I want to ride faster, so I'm going to go with speed here. And then, like I say, I can keep scrolling down. So here I can see that the organizer has shared a mock-up of what a potential training dashboard might look like. So that looks like a good way to join in and share some feedback about the functionality that I might want, and so on and so forth. I think you get the idea, right? It's a really engaging experience. It makes it super easy for people to join in and share their thoughts. One thing that I really like about this approach is that everybody gets the opportunity to be heard. When you have group conversations, either in person or on video, there tend to be some folks who dominate the conversation, and then others might speak over each other. There are certain folks who might hold back. This approach overcomes all of those challenges. It democratizes the way people share feedback. Everyone can share their comments and their thoughts when they're ready, and it really does level the playing field. So that's one of the main reasons, honestly, why I love this fresh new approach. Okay, so now we are going to put our product manager hat back on, and we are going to join the session, but this time as an organizer. So now as the organizer, you can see that the panel I'm looking at is very similar to what it looked like when we joined as a participant. Here, as the organizer, this is where I would, be entering those questions up front, but I can also join the conversation too. So if I wanted to ask questions, I could ask some clarifying questions. I can see the results of the poll. So I can see right now that speed is, leading in terms of the performance data that matters most to our users. It was brilliant that I was able to add a mock-up of the potential training dashboard, because now I'm getting some really great insights about what people actually want. Now, from the product manager's perspective, one of the really valuable aspects of this approach is that the whole transcript is recorded. If you have a live focus group, either in person or on video, you've either got to record the session and then someone has to transcribe it afterwards, or you need to be furiously taking notes during the session. You don't need to worry about that with empathy sessions. It's all here for you. And the wonderful thing is that as you go down after the session and review everything, if you see a message that looks particularly interesting, you can star it. If somebody shared an idea that you think is worth potentially implementing, you can also go ahead and create a related idea from it. So this is really key to help you summarize the key learnings. And then over here on the left, I can click into the Insights panel, and now I can see a complete list of any of the messages that I starred, and I have a really handy space here to summarize any of the learnings. One of the really useful parts about this approach is that it creates a really collaborative space where anyone on the team can now jump in here and see the feedback from themselves. So it shares the feedback across the team. Everyone can see exactly what customers shared with us in the voice of the customers. And that just helps everybody on the team build empathy. I have to say that our own product management team has used this functionality an awful lot. We've used it to gather feedback on areas of our application, such as notes. It was super helpful. We found some of those ideas in the portal that were related to our initiative to improve our notes functionality. And then we were able to reach out to those customers and have some great conversations, which have informed a number of improvements we've been delivering over the last few months. But we have many customers using this in really creative ways. We had one customer who used it internally to actually gather feedback on employee benefits. Another customer uses it for account reviews. And I thought that was actually a brilliant idea because they are able to bring in, a group of users from a customer account and then ask questions about how the overall experience is going, both in terms of the product and the service, to really get some great insights on how they can better serve the needs of their customers. So you can see that empathy sessions really are a fantastic way to engage with your customers. Okay, so now we've looked at one key way to gather customer feedback. Next, we're going to look at another approach, which is in-app community feedback. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fast forward a little bit in the journey of our training dashboard. So we're going to assume that we took all of those great insights from the empathy session and we actually went ahead and built it. So let's head back to our fictitious Fredwin cycling application. We've just launched this functionality. As the product manager, now I really want to find out what users think of our dashboard. Was it what they really wanted? How can I improve it? What functionality is missing? And this is where in-app community feedback comes in. In some ways, it is similar to empathy sessions in that it enables you to have that live chat-based conversation. But the big difference here is that it all happens inside your application. So at the bottom here, you'll see this thumbs up, thumbs down icon. We're using the same technology that we used earlier for the in-app idea submission widget. But if I click on this icon, it opens up this chat-based conversation right inside my application. So at the top here, I get some context that the product manager is introducing dashboards to me and is looking for some feedback on the functionality and would love to hear thoughts. Again, I get this friendly welcome message. And what's really fun here is that I can see what other customers are saying. And so together we can engage as a community, we can, spark off each other's ideas and have a really interesting conversation and find out what others think. So here, I might take a look at this and say, I want to share my stats on social media, for example. And great, that's it. Super easy for me to go ahead and share my feedback. And again, when users can share feedback right inside the application, it makes it so easy. And it means that you're sharing your feedback when it really is top of mind. When I'm thinking about new functionality, it's while I'm checking it out that I'm going to have the best feedback. I don't want to have to wait for someone to send me a survey or send me an email to find out what I think. This is the best time to hear what customers really think. So again, heading back to the application, inside the feedback widget, as the product manager, I get to see that whole transcript of the conversation. Again, I could star ideas. I can also convert messages into related ideas. And I can also summarize all of the insights from this incredible incoming flow of community feedback. We actually used this functionality ourselves when we launched our reporting dashboard functionality. Again, we got some great immediate feedback that led to some very quick iterations and improvements. But I know that a key use case for this is customers using it for their beta products. Really great way to get that early feedback. So here I've shown you two new ways to engage with customers, both via empathy sessions and in-app feedback. The main takeaway here is that ultimately you want giving feedback to be as easy and enjoyable as possible for your customers. We've found that people react really positively to this chat-based approach. Both of these methods respect people's time, they make it easy to join in, and they just create a natural and open way to get the conversation going. And that's ultimately what it's all about. And then from your perspective as the product manager, you're capturing all of this feedback in the same place that people are submitting ideas. So it really does streamline the whole process. If I can give you any advice here, is just give it a go. Try something new. And of course, you can always reach out to our team here at AHA for some advice, and we'd be happy to help you get set up. Okay, so that is our second step, which is engage. Now we'll move on to step number 3, which is enrich. So this is where you bring it all together and analyze your feedback so that you can make really informed decisions. It's super hard to do if all of the feedback you're capturing is spread across different tools and documents and emails. It really is critical to have it all in one system so you can get the complete picture. So we're going to discuss how to analyze all of this feedback from both a qualitative and a quantitative perspective. Now, from a qualitative perspective, we've already talked about how all of the conversations that are happening via empathy sessions or through in-app community feedback are automatically captured. Just having the transcript recorded is really enriching. Like I was saying, it means that anyone on the team can refer back to it at any time and get the full context of the conversation in the words of your customers. And then that learning section is just a really helpful way to summarize the key takeaways so that you can draw meaningful conclusions from each session. Now, if we head back to the ideas overview page, another thing I want to show you is just how interlinked everything is. So as you saw earlier, we created an empathy session specifically to talk about a training dashboard. So once you schedule an empathy session, the empathy session is then linked to any of the ideas that you selected to help invite those participants. So you really see how everything stays interconnected, and it now means that you can access that qualitative feedback directly from the idea itself. So now let's dig deeper into the quantitative part. If you've used AHA roadmaps for a while, you're probably already familiar with our powerful reporting and analytics capabilities. Those same options come in Ideas Advanced. So you can create list reports and pivot tables and charts and more. So here we just went to the related views, and you can see some of the example reports that are available for analyzing ideas. So there are a number of specific examples you can choose from, for example, to analyze trending ideas or to look at ideas by status. You can analyze, which ideas have been completed. There really are just a trove of really useful reports to help you with your analytics here. So let's just go ahead and pick one to take a look at. So I'm going to pick this pivot report to analyze ideas by category. So opening up the report gives me a really good sense of, which categories are trending across all of the ideas in my portal. And here, I can see a summary of how that breaks down by status as well. Now, I can do even more with this data. Here I can quickly convert it into a chart. And actually this is a really great opportunity for me to call out the new charting experience that we recently delivered, because we made it so much easier to configure charts directly inside the chart view. So here, for example, just seeing it as a chart makes it easier to visualize how the ideas break down by both category and status. But let's say, for example, I wanted to see this as a stack chart. I can do that. And so just this ability to visualize your data in different ways very quickly gives you some insights. In here, for example, I can see exactly what we've delivered. I can see how it breaks down across those different categories. So this, like I was saying, is a really powerful way to analyze your feedback across all of the ideas that are coming into your portal. So let's now head back to the Ideas Overview page. We recently released some new functionality in Ideas Advanced called Organizations. This opens up a whole new realm of possibilities in terms of being able to analyze your ideas data by customer or account, and also by different segments. So let me go ahead and show you what is possible here. So on the one hand, like I was saying, you want to be able to track trends across your entire data set, but there are times when you need a more narrowly focused view. So here, for example, I can see Aerocycle, which is the big customer we were talking about earlier. If I click on Aerocycle, you'll see here on the organization overview page that there is this field for an email domain. AHA is using the email domain information to be able to automatically group all of the ideas that have been submitted or voted on by anyone with that same email domain. So let me show you how powerful this is. Now I can see everything in one view that is important to Aerocycle. I can see the popular ideas and the things that their employees have recently voted on. And I can also see recently shipped ideas. So let's just imagine that, we're about to have a conversation with Aerocycle. We're going to do an account review. Now I have really powerful data at my fingertips to have a meaningful conversation with them. We can talk about their priorities. We can look at the data to see what their users are voting for and requesting. But I can also show to them how invested we are in the relationship by demonstrating all of the ideas that are important to them that we have recently shipped. So this is a really, really powerful way to analyze your data. Now, if I go back to the Overview tab, you'll also notice some additional fields here. These are custom fields that we added to bring in some more CRM-like data into our AHA account. So here, for example, we included information about the plan that our customers are on and also the country, so we can understand a little bit more about the location of our customers. Now, if you take this ability to bring in this CRM-like data and you combine that with the powerful reporting functionality that I showed you earlier, now you have a whole new way to analyze your ideas data. So I could create a report to find out what all of the organizations located in Canada are voting for and what ideas matter to them most. This type of information helps me make really informed decisions about where we need to focus and to understand, the business benefit of investing in a certain idea. So all of this to say that you really can do so much more with your ideas data by having it all captured in a central place in AHA. I'm just touching on the surface of what you can do here, and I hope this is inspiring you, because to me, this is the really exciting part. It's obviously critical to be gathering all that feedback, but it's how you analyze it and how you use it that really does drive innovation. And so that was step 3, enrich. Pretty powerful stuff, right? Today, we've covered a lot. We've talked about fresh new ways to expand how you gather ideas, to engage with customers, and then enrich your feedback analysis. Like I was saying, ultimately, the power of this approach is bringing it all together. You're using the right approaches to engage your customers, to hear from as many customers as possible. And then you're really using this data in a meaningful and actionable way. And that, honestly, is why AHA Ideas is the best way to gather feedback. So I hope you've enjoyed learning about some of these new ways to gather feedback. And please do reach out to our customer success team at AHA if you have any questions about any of the topics that we've covered here today, because we would love to help you try out some of these approaches so that you too can really use the best ways possible for your organization to engage your customers and gather the feedback that you need. Thank you for joining me.